So I would like to know from an expert, like, what is your perspective? What do people need to do to prepare? What are you guys seeing? What can you talk about without, the higher ups in Wealth Wave coming at you?
Talk about anything. I'm a free lady, okay?
I love it. I love it. All right, give me the dirt. Like, hit me with the truth. I think our audience can handle the truth. So let us know what's going on. What are you guys seeing, and what's the next 6 month, year, 5 years look like?
Okay, good questions. This is a loaded answer here. There's so much going on that we could address, and we could spend the next 3 hours talking about this alone. So a couple things that I want to suggest is, number one, never approach anything with fear in mind. I don't want anyone to live in fear. I think that is a huge common topic lately, especially with all the things that have happened in the past with COVID and all of these. We can go into conspiracy stuff all day. But I will say, never live in fear. Do not let someone else dictate the way you feel about your life and your future, because you have the power to design your future regardless of what it looks like economically. Preparation is key. Opportunity is key. When things are down, when things are scary, who wins? The people who are prepared win. So prepare. That's all I have to say. Hold off. I mean, if you read, it's a book called Millionaire Next Door. If you read that book, it will share with you all of the commonalities that people who make multi-million dollars per year, how they spend their money, how they save their money. And so I would encourage you to become a student of the wealthy. You don't have to be wealthy to become wealthy. It starts now. And so when the market's down, putting your money into something is going to go up in the future is ideal. You don't want to buy into something that is super high, obviously, and then it tanks. But no one really knows what's going to happen in the future. So in 2007, when the market crashed, the gentleman who predicted the market crash, they actually interviewed him recently. They made a movie about him called The Big Short, and it's on Netflix. It's a really good movie. They made a movie about him. They interviewed him, and they asked him, what do you think is going to happen in the market in the upcoming years? And his response was, there's only one indicator that has predicted the crash of any crash in the market. That is what we call an inverse yield curve. So as you mentioned, Doug, like as prices are going up, as our wages are not, as inflation is going up, as the cost of goods, like as everything is going up and taxes included, how are we preparing? And so I think what a lot of people are doing is they're thinking about the here and now, and they're looking to open up accounts, with their tax advisors and this or that to save taxes now on their money, to save money right in the present moment. They're not thinking about what's happening 20 years from now. So a lot of people are throwing money into tax deferred vehicles, or they're putting money aside to lower income brackets this year. But what happens when the future is gleaming, and we know that things are going to get more challenging? You want to think about your long game. So there's strategies out there that are tax advantage. There's tons of them, actually. We're leaning more into that at this point in the market. There's a lot of strategies that even cater to risk averse clients. Some that, also are performing very well, even with the market being down. So uncertainty is always going to be there. Unless you're sitting there, studying the market day in and day out, riding those highs and lows, there's always going to be a variable you can't control if you're putting your money in those positions. There are more strategic ways to allocate your dollars. So I would encourage you, especially if you've been kind of dragging your feet, sitting down with someone who's immersed in that world, go out and get 3 opinions on it. Let somebody look at your stuff, but also take it from multiple angles. And I think that's why we're different, is at Wealth Wave, we look at things with a tax advisor, with a CFP, with an attorney, with an attorney group, with ourselves as financial advisors, and look into that and say, okay, what if this happens? How are we preparing for plan A, B, C, and D? We want to really be sure that everything is intact. But I think right now, as you mentioned, with the cost of things going up, constantly shopping the market is going to be important to you, in not only performance vehicles, but also in some things that you're already providing for your family and don't necessarily realize have changed in rates. Life insurance premiums, for example, in the last 6 months have dropped by 25%. So industry-wide. And so if you're overpaying on that, that might be a few bucks you can free up every month, so you just never know. There's a lot of things out there, and things evolve. they get more and more competitive. So companies are realizing, this is what I find most that I feel most people aren't aware of. Companies are realizing that this is what's happening in the economy, and they're getting extremely competitive. They are wanting to buy your business. And so this is where opportunity presents when things are down, fight for that business. So whether you have a lot of money or you have just very little or nothing at all, like at some point, you're going to have to start saving money for your retirement. And 33% of people have zero retirement savings right now. So there screams opportunity for sure, but it's also an opportunity for you to say, hey, if the market gets competitive, that means additional benefits are going to come out in some of these accounts, and you need to have someone in your corner to shop those.
So much wisdom. You're absolutely brilliant. I'm so glad we had you here. And, I think the way to look at the potential storm that's coming, because you're right, no one can predict anything. I think you're right. I think that there's enough indicators to say that we're in for some volatile times. I think it's the best way to say it. But volatility brings opportunity, and more businesses open in volatile times than close, and a lot do close. But if you are a business that is prepared for it, or if you're just sitting on the sidelines and you've been waiting for an opportunity to come into the market, here is your sign. I mean, here is your time. And I think there's going to be a lot of money to be made if you're positioned correctly with your investment advisor in the market right now. I mean, if you're in ETFs that are playing the market to the downside over the next 6 months, I think you're in a pretty good position. It's just get educated, find yourself in a good position. If you're not, put yourself there, right? And get multiple opinions. That's just amazing.